Are city bylaws and ordinances something that you should be concerned about before you set up your urban farm or urban homestead? I'll be answering that question and more. That's coming up next on The Urban Farmer. Okay, so this is actually one of the most common questions I get. People say, Curtis, do I have to be worried that the city's gonna come and shut me down if I start farming in my backyard or have some chickens? And it's sort of a maybe answer. So there's a couple ways you can approach this. Let's say there's 3 ways you can approach this. The first thing is, and probably the most important thing before you get into urban homesteading or urban farming, is get to know your neighbors and let them know what you're doing and build a relationship with them. That's the most important thing, because most complaints to the city are made by people's neighbors that don't like what they see. So it's really about building that relationship with them. The second thing is, if you are concerned that there might be a bylaw or ordinance that restricts you from doing something like this, you can make an anonymous call to the city and just ask. That's an easy thing to do, and that's what I would advise you do. The third thing is, let's say you're in a situation where the bylaw says that you can't do it, and there's some restrictions for you in that regard. I would advise the best course of action is, before you go into the city and get all pissed off and are raising hell, because I get it. The fact that some of these laws exist are beyond insane, in my opinion, that any government person can tell you what you can and can't do in your own backyard, especially if you own the property. But that aside, let's not worry about that. Let's simply focus on the task at hand and what's the best course of action. So if you do need to change bylaws, the best way I would suggest that is get to know some people at the city, go in and ask questions and make some friends there. And don't build a negative type of relationship. Go in there positively and try to influence people that way, because things can change, laws can change. I've done it myself. There was a bylaw when I started farming that said I couldn't have a greenhouse on a lot that didn't have a home on it, and I had a lot like that on my farm when I first started. And that bylaw got changed because I got to know some of the people at the city and they really got behind my cause, and 6 months later they changed it. Having said that, I actually built my greenhouse before they actually changed the bylaw because I needed to get into production. But I did make good with my neighbors, and I made sure that all the people around me were on board with what I was doing, and that's really the most important thing. You know, having said all that, I am a firm believer in that old statement that it's better to ask forgiveness than to ask permission. And you got to look back in history and see that there are times when the law is not really in the right. Just because there's a law about something doesn't mean that that's right. And one example, one of the most common examples, is Rosa Parks. She got on the bus. She didn't call the city to make sure that it was okay. She got on the front of the bus because it was the right thing to do. And that changed the public awareness and raised the level of consciousness. And I think those examples are really important. You know, another one that's really common, I'm down in Southern California right now, and up in LA, there's a guy named Ron Finley who has been guerrilla gardening in public boulevards for years, and he didn't ask permission, he just did it. But as a result of that, he's raised the public consciousness, the level of awareness, and some of those bylaws have been now changed to allow people to do this. So you can see how these things can change with the more people we get on board. And so I think there's a multi-fold approach to all of this. So I hope that helps. If you want to see more videos like this, please hit the subscribe button right now and like and share them with your friends. Check out my book, The Urban Farmer, at theurbanfarmer.co, and my online course, Profitable Urban Farming, at profitableurbanfarming.com. Okay, thanks for watching.